Hey everybody, Invisiblekatana here with my New Year's Eve review. Apparently, I honestly forgot it was the last day of the year. It's like my first free day the whole time that I've been off for the holidays. And I was like, oh yeah, it is the last day of the year. That's crazy. So, super late. It's been a minute since I've done, anything on the channel. Kids. So happy New Year. By the time you see this, obviously it's New Year's Eve. It's 2:25. I got like 4 things to record. So, surprise, New Year's Eve, like bunch of random crap. So Hawkeye. Since this is my season review, I decided to do it this way. I'll do it like a lot like a movie review. So spoilers will be in the second half, as the title says. I'll let you guys know when we get there. But just to kick things off, I thought it was fun. I really enjoyed it. It was short, sweet, and simple. It was 6 episodes. They're like, this is our story. It is New York. It is Christmas. It is fun. And that's all you need to know. And that's all it had to be. It didn't have to be like, what the F is happening in WandaVision? What the F is happening in Loki? What the F is happening? I mean, Captain America was pretty simple. Or Falcon and Winter Soldier. That was pretty simple. That was fairly straightforward. It doesn't have to be what if. Like, what is this over here? Is this going to turn into live action? Who knows? We'll see what happens. All in all, fun season. They did some really cool stuff. I thought the action was good. They basically gave props to Hawkeye and the character that he truly is. Like, I think this is going to be one of those moments where people are like, oh, okay, this character is actually pretty awesome. He has like the greatest moment, in my personal opinion. He has, if not the best moment, one of the best moments. Like, it's hard to argue some of the stuff that happened in Endgame, but the opening to that movie with him and his family, to me, is one of the greatest moments in the entire MCU. When I first saw that scene, when that movie started, and it was just like, he's just talking, and it was, they just show the feet, and I was like, no, I don't want to see this. Like, that, I was like, as soon as the movie started, I was just like, I don't want to watch this. Like, that just hurts. That's effed up. So he's always had one of my favorite moments in the entire like MCU in general. And then the show is just like, yeah, and now you get to see him fight with all of those cool trick arrows. We get to see new arrows, of course. Some stuff being slightly spoilerish, but we see more explosions. We see some cool moves. We see some jelly stuff. Some really insane stuff pops up pretty early on, and then they kind of utilize it again later in a really, really funny and weird scene. The characters are great. Like, Hawkeye having to deal with his past basically during the time of the Great Blip, as they like to call it now, and him being the Ronin and the things that he did is, he went full Punisher mode. Honestly, like, Punisher probably got snapped out, and then it was just like, okay, well, I guess I can do that, and I'll just do it with like less guns and more cool katanas and stuff, and I'll just slice people up. And that's what he did for like 5 years. He was just like murder across the planet. And that started to catch up with him. And I thought they did a really good story of Hawkeye trying to basically forget what he did when he felt he had nothing else to live for. And he was just like, I'm just going to take out the bad guys. But he did it in some real effed up ways. Still really cool. I really still kind of wish we got a Ronin show just like during that time. I still think they should make a show during that time period. Like, either, at least the movie, but I feel like a show would be better. I want to see them finally explore that. And I feel like they will at some point. They just haven't got like the perfect grasp on how they want to do it. But I'm like, there has to be a story in the works somewhere where they tell that story like during the blip. Like, they have to, because that would be so good. But I like how they handled it. I like Kate Bishop, like her coming in. Haley Steinfeld did a great job portraying that character. And the two of them bouncing off each other is really entertaining. Like, her being like, basically, I saw you take that leap in Avengers. Like, I'm in my fancy, house and my dad's dead, and I see you fighting aliens. You jumped off an effing building, and you just shot a bow and arrow. You lived, and you're doing all this crazy stuff. And then they do an epic montage in the first episode. Here's why she's so amazing. And that was simple. They didn't have to spend a lot of time talking about it. It was like, here's the first episode. Here's why she likes him. Here's why she wants to be like him. And then they just do a montage fighting. She's not instantaneously great. She fights, she fails, she fights, she overcomes her failures. Great first episode, and just the way the action played out throughout the series, I think just kept ramping up until we got the insane finale that we ended up getting. So at this point, check it out if you haven't seen it. But we're going into spoilers, full on spoilers. And the first thing I need to talk about is, of course, like, why I'm wearing this shirt. Like, I don't have any Hawkeye stuff in general, first off, which is probably most people, admittedly. But despite everything that happened, it's the Hawkeye show. It's like, Hawkeye, that's cool. I think it was episode 3. We got that laugh, he's like, I'm like, okay, we got Kingpin. That's obviously him. That's obviously going to be Kingpin. And so I'm like, okay, there's been some things afoot in the, universe, I guess, if you will. And it was like, okay, so, there's been some things over here that we've heard about. And then, we hear the laugh. And I'm like, that seems real interesting. And there was a very specific week. I feel like I still can't spoil certain stuff. But there was, we knew Kingpin was coming, and there was some stuff that happened. And I was like, I'm feeling like there's just gonna be a Wednesday Thursday combo happening, and I'm so glad it did. But Kingpin was wild. Like, Kingpin was comic book Kingpin, and I loved every single second of it. Like, he was on there, and it's Vincent D'Onofrio is back. Very good. I recently introduced someone to Daredevil, and she's just been like all in, and I'm like, and I'm trying to figure out how to, like, trick her into thinking that like it's canceled and it will never come back, so that she can watch this and be like really surprised. I'm trying to figure out a way to do that because she never watched any of the Netflix stuff. So I'm like, okay, if I get her into it, because it's Daredevil, it's effing amazing. And then I'm like, oh yeah, that's it. That's the whole story. It's canceled. Would that work? I think it would work, but then she'd have to go through like 5 episodes, maybe only 3, because she, getting right off of it. I'm trying to figure out how to do it so she has that feeling I felt, because it's just like, it felt so good. It felt so good, and just to see him in this episode. He had the cane with the diamond on the top. It was like, it felt like full old school. Like, I feel like I was watching Spider-Man, the animated series, with him having the cane. And they had him in like, kind of the white suit. And then he had like the floral, the Hawaiian shirt on. It's like, I'm kind of, it's the holidays. I'm trying to be cheerful and jolly and stuff. But, I think Kate's mom's name was Eleanor. And he's just like, when she was like, I've been keeping a record of stuff. And he's just like, whew, you shouldn't have told me. Like, Eleanor, you need to keep your mouth shut, because I'm going to have to kill you now. And he was pissed. I mean, they clearly went full comic book, because he was always strong in Daredevil. Like, he was doing some wild stuff. And in this, he literally ripped a door off of a car. And was just like, he just ripped the whole thing off. And I was like, oh, they're going full Kingpin. And then he was shot in the chest with an arrow. And he's like, bitch, get this shit off me. And I was like, yeah, I'm happy. And then he gets hit by a car. And then he still got up. And then they went through a whole fight. And then an explosion goes off. And he still got up from that. And then he was shot in the face. Like, I don't know if they're going to do like him with an eye patch, or that's how they're going to plan it or whatever. But they clearly panned up, because they're like, we're not going to kill Kingpin. It's a cool way to kind of end it. Something's going to happen where somehow they both get out of that situation, because Echo is supposed to have her own series. So I'm not sure how they're going to play it, because it seemed like she, kind of shot him in the face. But it could have just been that he, right before she actually did it, he deflected, or, whatever. They can change up like 1 second or whatever from what actually, what we just saw. They'll add like 1 extra second in where he had the time to do that, even though he didn't. But they'll do it, and we'll be like, whatever, Kingpin's alive, who gives enough, because it's amazing. It's Kingpin. So I loved every second of him. He's ripping doors off. He's just pushing people across rooms with one hand. He's taking explosions. He's taking car hits. He's taking arrows straight to the chest, because it wasn't like it hit some body armor like he's had in Daredevil, where it hit the body armor and it's like, boom, and it deflects. It stuck through him. It, like, if anything pierces you, that means it went through the armor. So, that's just Kingpin, though. And it's just like, whatever. And he flicks it right off, and then he charges at her. And it's so good. And her reaction is like, what is happening? Like, that literally should have killed this man. And he was just like, pfft, and just walked. It was so good. It was so well done. But a fantastic fight. That's the thing that, of course, is worth talking about the most, because it was so amazing. But everything in the whole finale was really well done. Like, they, of course, reveal the stuff with Kate's mom. Obviously, Yelena has already shown up, and she's great, so it was cool to see her come back. Her blip moment in the series was phenomenal. Like, we had a little bit in WandaVision where it's someone coming back, but we got to see her from both ends, where she washed her hands, boom, she blinks, and then like the world, like, the painting changes around her in the bathroom. I thought that was a great representation. I was like, wow, that's really cool. I've never, like, that was a great way to show it. So, excuse me. I love the way they handled her character. She was funny. Her and Kate teaming up is really interesting. Like, even though they were fighting, if they ever end up teaming up, I think it'll be a really funny movie. So that'll be entertaining to see somewhere in the future. And maybe they'll both end up on the Young Avengers. Who knows? But I loved everything they did with it. All the resolutions that they had. I think they did a good job with that. Considering the final episode was definitely longer than the rest of the series. I think they did a good job. They surprisingly good job, honestly. Like, they had Echo's story, like all that stuff. I was like, I barely even cared, because they were kind of just like, okay, this is Echo, and we know, if you knew she was getting the show, you knew it was like, something's going to happen, she becomes good. Ronan tells her the secret, like, your dad, basically, somebody wanted him dead. Like, your boss wanted your dad dead. And so then it's like, she talks to the boyfriend. Why weren't you there? Then the things start to build up, and Kingpin knows that she betrayed him. And so they end up having their fight at the end, where it's like, it's supposed to be my life. And I was like, I didn't really care that much. I thought it was an interesting dynamic, but them actually fighting each other, I was like, oh, this is surprisingly emotional for me. I was like, I didn't think that I'd get that invested in that moment, but the way they played out, I thought was really well done. So I was like, all right, they had that resolution. They had, the epic team up where the heroes wear the new costumes and everything, so that was cool. They used the Pym arrow again, shrink the guys down. It's like, what happens next? It's like, I don't know. And then the owl comes in and just kills them. And I was just like, when I was watching, I was just like, wow, to be a fly on the wall, to ever see that, just like, they're gonna die. They've been shrunken down, and an owl is about to eat them. That's insane. That's real crazy. But they keep on keeping on. We get some more fights. Of course, Yelena goes up against Hawkeye, and it was really cool and very emotional. I love that. It was probably one of my favorite parts of the whole season was her finally understanding that he is the other side of her coin, and vice versa, where like he got to spend a lot of time with her that she didn't, and so he's hurt by the loss that he has because that was someone that he trusted. She was like family, and then she's hurt by the fact that it's the same thing, but she just had her earlier. So I thought that was really cool, and I was like, they're two sides of the same coin, and it's like now they can have a relationship themselves. So I was like, okay, I'd like to see that kind of expand in the future. But all in all, fantastic first season. Kingpin was just so good. All the action was good throughout the whole series. I thought they did a great job. Love seeing them put the arrows together as well. I thought that was really cool. But all in all, it was just amazing. It was a great first season. Like, I'd heard that it was originally supposed to just be the miniseries, and then at one point it was supposed to be like the season finale, and they didn't say like series finale. So that could be one of those random things where like the person that I forgot what company it even was that said like season instead of series, but that could have just been a random thing because it's like season 1 or whatever. So we might actually get a season 2. We'll see how it plays out, all in all. But I think they did a great job with it. I think Hawkeye is gonna get some real recognition because the show it's just fun and entertaining. A lot of people when it first started it was like, oh, it doesn't seem to have like that insane gravitas of like WandaVision's like what the F is happening, and Loki was instantaneously like alternate timelines and all this stuff. And even, Falcon and Winter Soldier, it starts off pretty hardcore, and it's like, okay, they're dealing with some big stuff because they're going into a lot of issues there. This was Christmas, and then it was Kingpin, and that's all it needed. So I enjoyed the show. I would love a season 2. I like all the characters and actors. Also, I cannot remember the character, but Linda Cardellini's character, we do find out was a agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., so that was cool. Hello, girl. I hate being sick. Coming off of it, but that was super cool. Also, Linda Cardellini is hot. I just need to period. I was just, every scene she was in, I was like, I like this. This was a smart choice, Linda Cardellini. But that's about it. I like the whole season. Would love to know your thoughts on this. More Hawkeye, no more Hawkeye. 2 Hawkeyes together, more Yelena. Everything that was in it. Obviously, we're getting more Kingpin. Everybody wants more Kingpin, but everything else, I would love to know your thoughts on. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.